Welcome to Good Screenwriting. I'm Trevor Meyer, and today we're going to talk about Wonder Woman. Yeah, I'm not going to bury the lead here. 5 stars. 5 out of 5, alright? DC finally got something right, my god. Alright, let's do a little history lesson here. There have been good DC movies. Batman and Superman only. My God, there really aren't that many. All right, I can count them on, well, 2 hands here. All right, Superman, Superman 2, Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. Up to this point, those have been the only good DC movies ever made. Since the 70s. All right. Um, maybe. Well, I don't know if I would count the Batman '60s movie with Adam West. Maybe. But this one, oh my God. Uh, and ever since they started their own expanded universe to compete with Marvel, their own what do they call it? The DC extended universe to compete with Marvel. Not good, not great stuff. Man of Steel was okay, but not good. Batman versus Superman was worse. Suicide Squad was the worst of them all. And then Wonder Woman comes around, and not only is it the best of these new DC movies, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, if you add up the audience and critics score, it's tied for the second highest rated superhero movie of all time. All right? It's like The Dark Knight and then a tie between Iron Man and Wonder Woman. Okay? And then every other superhero movie ever made is below that. Guardians of the Galaxy is below that. Um, the Avengers is below that. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is below that. The Dark Knight Rises is below that. It's it's The Dark Knight and Iron Man and Wonder Woman. Those are the top 3 of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. All right? So, very impressive stuff. I'm excited about this. I liked it a lot, and what I'm getting from it here, and I can't help comparing it to the other DC extended universe movies. Um, not all DC movies have the same problem. Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad had the same problem, which was a convoluted plot full of underdeveloped characters. You know, that was really the running theme between you know Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, which was, it just felt like a mess. Like there was a lot of stuff done in editing, and it didn't all come together. So Man of Steel had a whole different problem. Man of Steel told a complete story, and it made sense. It had a beginning, a middle, and end, and it fully developed this character of Clark Kent, Superman. Uh, but but it didn't have any fun. It wasn't happy. It wasn't heroic. It wasn't funny. It was a monotonous. It was murky. It was murky. It was very serious, very very serious. And they don't introduce comic relief into the movie until like the last 10 minutes, and by then it's too late. The problem's already resolved. So comic relief is supposed to relieve tension. All the tension is already gone by the time they start making some jokes. Yeah, they didn't have any fun with Superman. And this movie, Wonder Woman, has a moment in it where I'm like, and the first time I saw it, I was like, I wish that had been in Man of Steel. I wish that Man of Steel had done something like that because it was perfect. All right. So, um, we're gonna go into the spoiler section of this review. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to go see it fresh, all I'll say is that I give it 5 out of 5. It's doing really well, and it deserves it. It's the best. It's the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. Maybe The Dark Knight Rises. I don't know. I like The Dark Knight Rises, but you know what? This is pretty friggin' good. And do not be swayed at all by Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Suicide Squad. This is a whole different thing here, all right? This is every bit as good as any Marvel movie and better than most of them. Better than almost all of them. All right? So, take that as you will, all right? Now we're going to go into spoilers. Let's talk about the movie, all right? So, the moment I'm talking about that I wish was in Man of Steel is the part where they call it No Man's Land. It's about halfway through the movie, I think. I didn't have my watch on while I was watching it, but uh, it's trench warfare. It's World War One, and it's a totally understandable situation, which is we can't cross this line. We're not cowards. It's just if we pop our heads up out of this trench, they're gonna shoot us. And Wonder Woman does something truly heroic. She actually acts like a hero, which is kind of new for these superhero movies. Because, God, I mean, think about it. Superman doesn't act like a hero in Man of Steel. He does, good things, but he's mostly a lonely drifter and then in the end a murderer. So Batman versus Superman, Batman, who gets most screen time, is also a villain. He's a xenophobic, racist against Kryptonians, serial killer. All right, and Suicide Squad. Come on, there aren't any real heroes in Suicide Squad. They're all villains. All right, Wonder Woman is the true hero of the DCEU so far. All right, she's the Captain America of DC movies. So it's the moment where she climbs out of the trench and she's wearing a cloak to hide her armor up to this point to blend in with the normal people. She sheds the cloak and she marches out, out of the trench wearing the Wonder Woman costume, and we see it for the first time in that scene. And that was a moment where I was like, I wish that Man of Steel had that beat in it where they reveal for the first time that he's Superman and he does something super heroic and reveals himself to be Superman. All right? Because I remember when I was watching Man of Steel, the first time I saw it, he's a homeless drifter. He's very depressed. He goes to the Fortress of Solitude. He talks to Jor-El, and he puts on this costume. And I'm like, all right, he's training now. And that would be like the equivalent to me of in the Christopher Reeve Superman movie. Not when he becomes Superman, but after he goes to the Fortress of Solitude and he trains for like 12 years, we see him in the Superman suit. And he just flies away, but we don't get a really good look at him. And then that's it. He goes to being Clark Kent. He goes to Metropolis. And then we have the big reveal where he pulls the jacket open and he's Superman and he saves Lois Lane and he emerges as Superman. In Man of Steel, I figured this is the training sequence. This is the Fortress of Solitude sequence. So he puts on the Superman costume, he does some flying, and then he's done with it. Then Zod sends out his message and Superman turns himself into the U.S. government, and he's on Zod's ship laying on a table, and he's, basically, you'll never get away with this, Zod. And it was right around then when I'm wondering, wait, is he it now? Like, is he Superman now? When did that happen? Like, I feel like we skipped a beat where, like, he claimed the role of Superman, but we're, like, kind of like, knee deep in a Superman plot, and I'm like, wait, when did he become Superman? He put on the costume, but what happened? Like, Now he's doing the thing, and I'm like, I missed a step there. I got to catch up now. And then again, like they got a part where um, when they give him the name Superman for the first time, it's just some two army guys talking to each other, and one of them says, "Superman's on his way," and the colonel's like, or the general is like, "Superman?" He's like, "Yeah, that's what they call him now, Superman." And it's like they skipped over the part where they gave him his name. you know, they skipped like it's like, oh yeah, we call him Superman now. It's like, why? What? Since when? So now, granted, in this Wonder Woman movie, they never actually call her Wonder Woman. So I imagine that's going to be a name that the Justice League is going to give her. And I'm way more excited for Justice League now. I was very cynical this whole time. It's like, fool me once, shame on me. No, what was that? No. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, or maybe a better metaphor, what this is like is uh, Man of Steel, strike one. Batman versus Superman, strike two. Suicide Squad, strike three, you're out. Next batter up, Wonder Woman, boom, home run. Home run. That's what it's like. Three strikes, you're out. Next batter up, boom, home run. All right, out of the park. Now, I like this movie not just for a DC movie, but for any movie that it told a complete story. All right, it had a beginning, middle, and end, and you got the sense of them taking time with it and just pacing, and it was just someone telling a real story, and it felt kind of like uh, Iron Man or Batman Begins or Captain America: The First Avenger, Thor, in that it felt like a well-paced, complete story. Unlike Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, which felt like sliced and diced little bits that came together in this kind of hodgepodge mess. Even Man of Steel, it told a complete story, but it wasn't any fun. It was murky and kind of dark for a Superman movie. So Wonder Woman, I will say, it takes place during World War One, so there's a lot of cynical, dark stuff going on around her. But Wonder Woman is not cynical. Wonder Woman is the one person who sees how things should be and fights for what's right. It's really what Man of Steel should have been, but it reminds me of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, because in Captain America: The First Avenger, he's living in a pretty hopeful time. Like, he's heroic and patriotic, and America is heroic and patriotic, and he's on the right side already. Everybody's on. It's America versus the Nazis. I mean, it's pretty clean cut. In the Winter Soldier, however, everything around him is murky and cynical, and it's about corruption within the U.S.'s own government, and it's about how everybody around him is doing the wrong thing, and he's still fighting for what's right, and he serves as a beacon of hope for everyone else. That's what this movie is, all right? Everyone else is cynical and the world is in chaos. It's the Great War, because it's not World War One at that point. They didn't know there was going to be a sequel. All right, they didn't know there was going to be a World War Two. So this is World War One. God, that's weird. I didn't realize WW stands for World War and Wonder Woman. But no, it's the Great War. It's the Great War. It's they've never seen anything like it. The whole world is fighting, and they use this great plot device that it's Ares, the god of war, that's behind it, which is kind of a clever way to do it. Because there's a couple of reasons not to do World War II. One, Captain America already did it. Two, how do you are you saying Ares, the god of war? started World War One and then got away with it, and then he's now again doing World War Two, and then if that's the case, how is the bad guy not Hitler? So the fact that it's the first World War really lands the point that it's Ares, the god of war, who's behind it all. So it was a clever way to bring in the Greek mythology and all that. Marvel has Norse mythology and DC has Greek mythology. All right, it's about Zeus, not Odin. All right, um, so it's all about and it's really great as a period piece too because the feminist angle is interesting because nobody thinks of themselves as being sexist. Back in the 1940s. No, not. It was way before that. What? I don't. God, I'm a terrible, terrible American. I don't even know when World War One was. All right, I don't actually know what year this movie takes place in, but um, it had to be before the 40s because World War Two was the 40s. Um, so 30s, 20s, the 10s, 1910s. I don't know, but nobody thinks of themselves as being sexist in that time period. They're just acting the way everyone acts. So what's great is you got Wonder Woman coming from Themyscira, the land of the Amazons, and it's almost like she's coming from the future. Like she's coming from now. It's almost like time travel, where she's like a modern woman from now back in the time of World War One. So she's like questioning everything that they think about women, and it's a really awesome commentary because you don't get to make those kinds of statements if it takes place now. The sharp contrast of the period is really what made it work. So, and I don't want to make this all about feminism because I know this is very important as a movie for women. This is important for a female action hero, a female role model. However, I don't want it to be just about that. I don't want people to think, "Oh, this is pretty good for a female hero, heroine movie," uh, or this is good because it's a step forward for feminism. This is just a good movie. Like this is a good movie on every possible level, and I almost like I don't even want to talk about the feminist angle, mostly because I'm kind of depressed that we're still talking about that. I'm kind of depressed that this is not the norm. I thought we were past this by now. I thought that we were living in an age where it was just a given that men and women were both strong and men and women could both be heroes. I thought we were already living in that time. So for people to be shocked that this is doing as well as it is, kind of upsets me. So I don't want to focus too much on the feminist angle because it shouldn't be that weird. It shouldn't rock the boat so much that this is possible. This should be considered normal. All right. Uh, I was like, you want another good movie with a female hero? How about Alien? Came out in 1979. Come on. All right, let's get on board with this thing already. Aliens. You know, uh, we've had strong female characters around for a long time, so come on, people, get used to it. Get on board with it. All right. So that out of the way, it's just a good movie. This is every bit as good as Iron Man. It's as good as Logan. I liked it better than Logan actually. Um, it's just it's hopeful and it's heroic and it's bright and colorful in a way that the past DC movies have not been of late. And it's the ultimate Wonder Woman movie, and it's great that they've never made a Wonder Woman movie before because this is it. This gets look, Man of Steel always had to follow in the footsteps and walk in the shadow of Superman the movie from the 70s with Christopher Reeve. That was the ultimate Superman movie. All right, and you had Batman Begins, but before that it was Michael Keaton's Batman, but before that it was Adam West's Batman, which was a movie. So it was kind of like Batman was kind of all over the place, but you know what? This is the one and only Wonder Woman movie. And they get to own it. You know, it's not like, well, how do we do this different from the last Wonder Woman movie? This is going to be it. This is the breakthrough movie. And 20, 30 years from now, they're going to remake this, or they're going to make a new Wonder Woman movie, and they're going to be comparing it to this one. So I'm thrilled with the fact that this is what we got. This was the breakthrough. This was the breakthrough moment for the character. All right. So bottom line, I give it a 5 out of 5. I haven't, I got to say one more thing. In terms of just superhero magic, this is the weirdest thing. There have been a lot of great superhero movies, since the advent of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I've enjoyed all of them, all right? Well, not all of them. There have been a few bad ones in there, but the weirdest thing about this is that back in high school, I saw Spider-Man 2 back in 2004. All right. And it was summer. How old was I? 16? I was 16 when Spider-Man 2 came out. And that movie to me was magical. It was the first movie I ever saw twice in the theater. You know, it was just a given. Anytime I went and saw a movie in the theater, I only saw it once. I saw Spider-Man 2 twice. And the credits were rolling, and it was just like superhero magic, all right? It was just magic. It was inspiring to me. Um, and it's so weird, but when the end credits are rolling um, to this movie, and they're, first off, they do what they should be doing, Marvel style. The first 2 minutes of the credits are stylized, kind of. They play the Wonder Woman theme and they show cool images, and you've seen it in the Avengers and Iron Man, where the first 2 minutes of the credits are really kind of a specialized, almost like a James Bond style CGI sequence that kind of is just a spectacle. And this has that. I'm like, finally, they're doing some cool credits. Suicide Squad had some cool credits. Um, Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, to the best of my memory, did not. But after that, they play a song called "To Be Human" by Sia, featuring Labyrinth, if I'm correct. And I've heard the song on the radio before, but in the context of this movie, it's actually perfect. And the main chorus is "To be human is to love." I think I got the lyrics right there. To be human is to love. And that's really the theme of the whole movie. So I don't really recall if the song was written for the movie or if the song was written already and they dropped it into the movie and it just happened to match perfectly. I don't know, but I've heard it on the radio before. So when that song was playing and the movie was over and the credits were rolling, I had the exact same feeling that I had when I was 16 watching Spider-Man 2. And it is so weird, that was 13 years ago. So I haven't felt like this after watching a superhero movie for 13 years. All right, that was the impact that this movie had on me. That I'm not saying it's the best. The Dark Knight was probably the best. Um, and I love Civil War, Captain America Civil War. But in terms of just superhero magic, where I was inspired and just like felt good and uplifted at the end of the movie, uh, I haven't felt this way since Spider-Man 2. All right? So take that as you will. Go see the movie. I promise you it will be worth your time and your money. All right? You know what? If you're a guy, go see this movie. If you're a girl, go see this movie. Um, bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. This movie will work for anyone. I like. Look, I would not have my mom watch Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, or Suicide Squad. I think she would absolutely like this movie. All right. I don't know if she'll love it, but she would like it. She would like it. She watched the Wonder Woman TV show when it was on TV, so I think she would totally get into this one. So, what do you think? Do you agree? Did you come on? I mean, okay, I know not everyone agrees, but come on, really? Yeah. All right. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, what do you think? Leave your comments in the section below. All right. This is Good Screenwriting. I'm Trevor Meyer. See you next time.